Ready for a deep dive into some really fascinating stuff? We're cracking open Drive today, a book that really makes you think differently about motivation. It challenges those old school ideas like the whole carrot and stick approach.
Yeah, it's like the book is saying our view of motivation is kind of stuck in the past, like we're trying to run the latest apps on a super old computer.
Yeah.
Just doesn't work that well, right? Drive suggests we need a total system upgrade for how we think about what really motivates us.
I like that, a system upgrade. So to be clear, the book argues that those traditional methods, the carrots and sticks, like rewards and punishments, aren't as effective as we might think, especially for work that needs creativity or some serious brain power.
And it's not just some theory either. The book talks about these monkeys, right? They were given puzzles to solve, and they actually figured them out without needing any kind of reward. No treats, no praise, nothing. It was like they got satisfaction just from solving the puzzle itself.
So they were driven by the challenge itself.
Hmm.
That's pretty cool. Actually, I've totally felt that before. Like
Oh.
getting completely absorbed in a puzzle or a project. And the only reason you're doing it is the joy of figuring it out, is like some kind of inner drive kicks in.
Exactly. Drive calls that type I behavior, which basically means the motivation comes from within, not from some external reward. And it breaks down this type I behavior into three main parts: autonomy, mastery, and purpose.
Okay, let's break those down a bit. Autonomy, mastery, and purpose. What do those actually look like in real life outside of a textbook definition?
Well, think of autonomy like this: it's having the freedom to direct your own work. Imagine having control over your own schedule and how you approach your tasks. There are companies like Atlassian and Medius that have put something in place called a results-only work environment, ROWE for short.
So are they basically saying, as long as you get the work done, we trust you to manage how and when you do it?
You got it. And the interesting thing is the results have been surprisingly good. Like they've seen increased productivity and people are more satisfied with their jobs. It seems kind of counterintuitive, right? Like you'd think giving people more freedom would lead to, I don't know, less productivity, but it actually seems to work.
That makes a lot of sense. When I've had jobs that gave me more autonomy, I felt more ownership over my work. I was way more productive. It's almost like being trusted to manage your own time is a reward in itself,
Absolutely. And then you've got mastery, which is all about getting better at something that you really, truly care about.
right? Like becoming fluent in another language or mastering a musical instrument. That feeling of making progress is so rewarding.
For sure. The book actually dives into the psychology of mastery, especially the work of a psychologist named Carol Dweck. She discovered that people who have a growth mindset, meaning they believe they can always learn and improve, are much more likely to achieve mastery in whatever they pursue.
It's like if you believe you can get better at something, you're more likely to put in the effort and actually see improvement, right?
Exactly. It's about seeing those challenges as opportunities for growth, not like threats or something to avoid. And Drive brings up this fascinating concept called the mastery asymptote. Basically, it's the idea that tree mastery is always just slightly out of reach.
So you're always striving, always learning, even if you're an expert. At first, that sounds a little frustrating.
It can be, yeah, but it also keeps things super engaging. Think about it like climbing a mountain. A lot of the experience is the pursuit of reaching the summit.
Okay, I see what you mean. So what about the third element of this type I behavior, purpose? I feel like so many people struggle to find purpose in their work, especially when it feels like it's just about earning a paycheck.
That's such an important point. The book talks about this human need to contribute to something bigger than ourselves. Like companies like Tall Mesh Shoes. Their mission is a core part of their whole business model. They sell shoes, but for every pair they sell, they donate a pair to a child in need.
Oh, that's a perfect example. It's like they figured out a way to combine making a profit with a deeper sense of purpose.
Huh.
And it seems to really resonate with their customers, especially younger generations. They're looking for brands that actually reflect their values.
Absolutely. That desire for purpose is so powerful, and Drive argues that it's one of the key drivers of type I behavior. But there's another element the book explores, and it's crucial for understanding how this all works: flow. Have you ever gotten so engrossed in something you completely lose track of time?
Oh, totally. When I'm writing and I'm really into a project, hours just fly by.
That's flow. Research shows that people actually often experience flow more at work than during their free time. It's when they're truly engaged and challenged in what they're doing.
So it's not about just relaxing. It's about being challenged in a way that makes you lose yourself in the task. That makes me think about how different work would be if it was actually designed around this idea of flow.
Well, that's what the book argues, that traditional workplaces, with all their focus on carrots and sticks, they actually end up stifling flow. They can actually prevent people from reaching their full potential.
But then, if those traditional rewards are often counterproductive, what's the alternative? Like, how do we create environments that actually nurture this type I behavior? I'm guessing Drive has some thoughts on that.
Oh, yeah, definitely. One of the key takeaways is that these if-then rewards, like those classic do this and you'll get that schemes, they can actually backfire, especially when it comes to tasks that require creativity. The book even has a name for it, the Sawyer effect.
Wait, like Tom Sawyer and that fence?
Exactly. Remember how he tricked his friends into thinking that painting the fence was like a privilege? It's because rewards can actually turn play into work.
Yeah.
Something that was once enjoyable just for the fun of it can suddenly feel like a chore.
That's so true. It's like when you have a hobby you're really passionate about, and then someone offers to pay you for it, and it's like all the joy gets sucked out of it.
Right. And the book also argues that working for a reward can actually stifle your creativity. It can encourage people to take shortcuts instead of looking for those meaningful long-term solutions.
So how do we shift away from this kind of outdated reward system? If the whole carrot and stick thing isn't the answer, then what is?
Drive suggests some really practical alternatives. It starts with just making sure that those baseline rewards, like salaries and benefits, are actually fair and competitive.
So like laying the foundation first. Makes sense. You can't expect people to be motivated to go above and beyond if they feel undervalued from the start.
Exactly. Then, instead of relying solely on those traditional if-then rewards, the book suggests offering more non-monetary rewards, things that actually tap into those Type I drivers.
So instead of just like a bonus for hitting a sales target, maybe it's giving someone the opportunity to lead a new project or take on more responsibility, maybe even learn a whole new skill set.
Now you're getting it. Think about how you can offer opportunities for autonomy, mastery, and purpose. Like maybe someone on your team would benefit from a professional development course or a mentorship. Those things can be so much more motivating than just like a gift card.
Totally. It's like shifting the focus from seeking external validation to encouraging internal fulfillment.
Yeah.
Give people the space and support they need to grow and contribute in ways that feel meaningful to them.
And the book has some really cool examples of companies actually putting this into practice. One that I find really interesting is this concept of 20% time.
Oh, tell me more about that. I think I've heard of it. Doesn't Google do something like that?
They do. Google encourages their employees to set aside 20% of their work week to just work on whatever they want, personal projects, anything they're passionate about. And guess what? It's actually led to some of their most innovative products like Gmail and Google News.
Wow, that's amazing. It's like they're giving their employees permission to be entrepreneurs within the company, to experiment and explore new ideas without being limited to their normal day-to-day tasks. It sounds like a great way to boost innovation and keep employees engaged. But realistically, not every company can offer something as big as 20% time. Are there smaller things, everyday changes, that can make a difference?
Totally. Even small shifts in the language you use can have a big impact. For example, the book suggests trying to replace phrases like must or should with things like think about or consider.
Oh, I see. It's about empowering people to make their own choices instead of making them feel ordered around. I bet that makes a difference in how people respond.
It really does. It creates a sense of psychological safety, which encourages people to be more collaborative.
This has given me so much to think about, and not even just in the workplace. This whole idea of tapping into Type I behavior, it seems relevant for things like parenting and education too.
Absolutely. The book actually gets into that too. It basically suggests that children are naturally Type I. They're driven by curiosity and a love for learning, just naturally. But the problem is that traditional education systems, with their emphasis on grades and standardized tests, can stifle that natural curiosity. It makes kids more extrinsically motivated instead of intrinsically motivated.
That's so true. It's like we accidentally train kids to focus on external validation instead of just letting them experience the pure joy of learning for the sake of learning.
Exactly. And the book gives some really great advice for parents and educators on how to nurture that Type I spirit in kids. For example, instead of tying allowance to chores, keep them separate.
So the allowance becomes more about teaching them about financial responsibility, and chores are just a normal part of being a contributing member of the family.
Exactly. And when you're praising kids, focus on their effort and the strategies they use, not just their intelligence.
So instead of saying, "You're so smart," it's more like, "Wow, you really stuck with that problem and found a creative solution."
You got it. It's about fostering that growth mindset. And don't underestimate the power of showing them how what they're learning connects to the real world. Like if a child is learning about history, encourage them to interview a grandparent about their own life experiences.
Those are such practical yet powerful ideas. It's making me realize this isn't just about work or education, it's about a fundamental shift in how we approach this whole idea of motivation in all areas of life.
You got it. Drive really is like a blueprint for cultivating type I behavior. It doesn't matter if you're a CEO, a parent, or just someone who wants to live a more fulfilling life. This book has something for everyone.
It really is amazing how powerful this stuff is. It's like Drive is showing us a whole new way to think about motivation, and it just feels so much more in tune with, what it means to be human.
Mm.
Are there actually companies out there, like real-world examples that are putting these Type I practices into action?
Oh, yeah, definitely. The book has some great examples. One that comes to mind is Atlassian, the software company. They have this cool thing called FedEx Days.
FedEx Days,
Yeah.
like the overnight shipping company.
Yep, exactly. They give their employees 24 hours, a whole day, to work on any problem they want, any problem at all, and then they present their results the next day. It's kind of like a mini hackathon, you know? It injects this burst of autonomy and creative energy into the workplace.
I love that. Such a cool idea.
Yeah.
Are there any companies that have gone like all in on this Type A approach, like across the entire company?
There are actually. Medius, they develop software for hospitals, and they fully embrace this results-only work environment, ROWE, like we were talking about
Oh,
before.
right. ROWE. No set schedules or anything, just focused on getting the work done.
Exactly. It's all about trusting their employees to manage their own time and really focus on those outcomes. And the cool thing is, it seems to be working. They've seen a boost in productivity. People are happier, less stressed. It's pretty impressive.
It's wild how giving people more autonomy can actually lead to all these positive results. You'd think it would be the opposite, but it really works.
And it's not just about ROW or 20% time. Drive talks about companies that are trying out unlimited vacation time and letting their people choose which projects they want to work on. There's definitely a movement toward creating work environments that are more, well, human.
It really does feel like we're on the verge of a major shift in how we view work. It's not just about clocking in and out anymore. It's about finding real meaning in what we do and actually feeling fulfilled.
It really is. And the more we talk about these type Y principles, the more they'll catch on. It's about changing the way we think about motivation as individuals and as a society.
This deep dive has been incredible. I feel like I've upgraded my own understanding of what truly motivates people.
And that's what it's all about. We have a choice. We can keep doing things the old way with the carrots and the sticks, or we can embrace this whole new way of operating, one that's based on autonomy, mastery, and purpose.
It's about creating a world where work is actually engaging, learning is something we enjoy, and everyone has the power to thrive.
Yeah.
That's a future worth working towards.
Couldn't agree more. It's been a pleasure diving into Drive with you today.
Thanks for joining me. This book has given me so much to think about. And to everyone listening, if this conversation sparked your curiosity, I highly recommend checking out Drive. You might just discover how to upgrade your own motivational operating system.